No, forget about it. We're here talking about the Ghostfellas. What's up, everybody? I'm Joe Dub. Welcome back to To Be Seen. Thanks for watching. Thanks for clicking on this thumbnail. And if you would, please like, share, and subscribe. Just share it with your friends. And speaking of friends, I've got one of mine with me today. I'm super happy.
His one and only friend.
Yeah, I got it's very small. I got Jason, Nita, Jason, and my mom. Very excited to have a queen join us for this episode of diving into ghosts, shedding light on ghosts. We're talking Nita from the FiQueens. Nita, how are you?
I'm doing really good. How are you doing? So glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, we're so glad to have you on. Cosmic Mom was in the hospital.
Yeah,
she had
better.
Yeah, she's better. I had to cancel the other show, Captain Squadron. If you're new to that, go over there and follow those guys. But she had the trifecta. She had dehydration, flu, and an MS flare up. So yeah, it was a rough day. And like they were like,
she needed some hospital time for sure.
Yeah, she'll be there for probably another 2 days. But she said it was scary because when you have MS flares with the flu, it could be anything. It's a danger zone when you have that. So it was nerve-wracking. And of course, I had to drop my cousins off because they live with me with their mom and then run up. And I'm like, oh, what's going on? And then my aunt's calling me and she's like, you need to get here. And I don't want to talk about it over the car phone because I don't want the boys to hear it. And I was like, oh, God. So I'm panicking. And she was like, they want to run tests because we're concerned about certain things because of the MS. And turns out all that was okay. It was
good. I'm glad that was okay. It was just like the flu knocked her out.
Yeah,
right?
The flu put her on her literally on her back. So she's gonna be back up and running. And of course, we're ready.
Trouble.
Yeah, she's a Spitfire. She was already like, oh, good, you're here. Can you go get me this baby? Can you give me that? I was like, okay, she's back. She's good to go. So we're happy. I'm happy about that. She's rocking and rolling. She watches your show.
She's adorable.
Yeah, and she wanted me to let you know that she likes the addition of your new co-host.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Tiffany, she's awesome.
Yeah. So normally I would wait till the end, but this is a different show. It's a different thing. Please tell everybody about Queens. And
yes, absolutely.
The notes below will have a link to her channel.
Yes, Queens, we talk about all things science fiction and predominantly the female characters. We do an homage to actual real female scientists as well as sci-fi writers in books and in comics. We're predominantly doing female main characters and things like that, but we will do men as well. Like our last night's show, we were talking about Tiffany's section was talking about sci-fi actors. And we talked about the contribution of Will Smith in science fiction. So we do all those things. We have a 3-day that we did for the month of February for Black History Month. We did 3 days of it. And it was so much fun.
Awesome.
Celebrating the whole month, for Black History Month. And we like to do things like that and just bring in what's going on in science fiction and in science to the people that are watching.
Good. And that's what we need. We need more people to lift up women, lift up African Americans, and lift up science. So I'm so glad you did that.
Absolutely.
I wanted to give you a moment to.
Yes. Sure and in last night's show, we did a couple of authors, not just a book that I reviewed a trilogy written by a Nigerian American sci-fi author, and gave some information about her as well. So each week I had a different book to review of her trilogy, but I also talked about 2 other authors. So guys, go check it out. If you're wondering, do we have Black sci-fi authors? We absolutely do.
Yeah. Awesome. We love the work that you're doing. So thank you for sharing, and definitely, friends, go and check Nita out at the FiQueens channel. All right, well, we're here to talk about ghosts. That's sci-fi.
Ghosts.
Let's hop into this Ghostfellas episode. All right, let's do it. All right, so At first glance, we're talking about a secret sauce. Yes, it's very, very soft. A secret soft sauce. This is a Pete centric episode, and I don't know about you, but Pete's one of my favorite characters on the show.
He is. He's so adorable. I absolutely love his character.
Yeah, it's such a sweet character and innocent because he's, as we find out in this episode, he's just an insurance and travel agent.
Agent.
Yeah, and he's just sweet and telling people, having his little dad jokes and everything, and he's really getting into it. So you're thinking, oh, great, we're getting a Pete centric episode. What could go wrong? And then you find out.
Ooh, so much goes wrong with poor Pete.
So much goes wrong. This episode, at first glance, is about a tie-in that Pete had with the mafiosos and over a secret sauce that Pete offers to Jay for his restaurant. And that's when it gets thick. So let us get in the thick of it. All right. This episode is crazy because I did not expect this whole mafia thing to play out as it did. What did you think? Yeah.
Well, that was very surprising because I had seen the clip about him sharing the sauce with Jay, and then at first saying, no, it's a family recipe. I really shouldn't, because it's his, wife's family recipe,
right,
who happens to be a ghost that lives on that property. Yeah. And no one bothered to ask her, hey, can we give Jay the sauce?
Yeah.
All of this could have been avoided.
Right.
And they give the sauce, which, by the way, if you look at how he's making it, he's putting soda in the sauce. That was all kind of weird. Like, I've made sauce. I've never tried soda.
No, specifically Dr. Pepper.
I know. I don't even like drinking Dr. Pepper.
I'm wondering if there's something like, I don't know. I don't know how they came up with putting Dr.
It's definitely not a true Italian sauce.
No, that's definitely some.
Absolutely not.
That's an Olive Garden sauce.
Absolutely.
Yeah, fuck you, your family. Yeah.
But people loving the sauce, and because of the Dr. Pepper, I can see why he could tell it was his family sauce when he was eating it.
Yeah, because that has a distinct taste.
That's very distinct taste, absolutely. I mean, Dr. Pepper doesn't even taste like burger. Like, if you're a Coke drinker and there's only Pepsi, you could drink the Pepsi and be like, all right, I could deal with that. But Dr. Pepper's a whole different story.
Yeah.
So I can see how the word got around.
I'm leaving.
I thought it was really great the way they interacted, because I don't think that Jay, without the ghost and without his wife to interpret the ghost, would have understood the seriousness of what was happening.
Right.
Because the guy was so convincingly charming.
Yeah.
Or just take the sauce off the menu.
Yeah.
And when he finally gives in, he's like, that's all I wanted. Not really.
No. And then it became a slew, and that's when it got real thick, because he came back like a true mobster. It was like, oh, you know what? I'm going to take this frame, and I'm going to take this painting. And it's like, wait. It's like, oh, put it on my tab. Put it on my tab. And like a true mobster, he basically starts running the place.
Did you ever watch Goodfellas?
Oh, absolutely.
This is so reminiscent of Goodfellas.
Yeah, that's why the name Ghostfellas.
Yeah,
it works so perfectly. But yeah, this made 1,000% sense to have this guy.
Oh, yeah.
Were you hoping somebody from The Sopranos was going to pop up?
I was.
Yeah.
Or at least one of the characters of Goodfellas that are still alive.
Yeah.
Kind of be a part of it. But I'm sure they don't have the budget for it.
No. It's like, then they can get Bobby De Niro to come. Oh.
Exactly. Yeah.
But the B plot was really great too, because Trevor and Hetty are plotting to really use their super friends power.
Yes.
Start making moves and start manipulating and planning. And what are they playing?
All on the behest of Flower.
Yeah.
I remember things from one minute to the next.
Exactly. It was absolutely hysterical that when Alberta and Isaac basically walk in on them, like, what are you doing? And then how they move together, like stepping top. I'm dying to know how long that took to film, because they were perfectly moving.
The timing that they had was excellent.
Yeah.
They really do have excellent timing together. And
Yeah.
I know that Hetty and
Trevor.
Trevor may not seem like a ideal match, but I could see it in the ghost world.
Yeah.
I can see how good they are together
Yeah.
because I think she's far more progressive than she allows herself.
Exactly.
I mean, come
Well
on.
said. Yeah, it was great. This is such a great episode.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, but as they're planning, I like the flashback that she has to Flower, like sitting by her bed and go, there was the bear, the sound guy, when we had to check and make sure everything worked out because of the electricity of the bear, and she just wouldn't shut up. And Eddie's like, oh.
And the thing is that Flower is so good at
Mm-hmm.
annoying you with her stories and being oblivious to it
Yeah.
that you're listening to this show and you're going, oh, she is annoying.
Yeah.
Like you could feel the annoyance.
Yeah. And then you
The
still
actress
love.
is phenomenal.
Yeah. And you still, yeah, she's amazing.
Mhm.
She just had her first kid. That's why she was in that well for so long.
Oh,
One of the
really?
one of the previous seasons, she was
Yes, she was
last
stuck
season.
in Noel. And
Yeah.
they
And
thought
then,
she had moved on.
right. But in reality, she was in the well.
Sucked off, as they call
Yeah.
it.
Oh, yeah. Sucked off. Yeah. Or sucked off or go down. It's like, wait a minute. Such
And
clever
Trevor
writing.
refused to let anybody explain to them otherwise.
Yeah, exactly. They just like,
Yeah.
Sam's just like, whatever, go for it. Speaking of Sam, she also had a child.
She just had a baby too.
Yeah, but like I don't know if she planned on it, but she timed it where she didn't have to miss filming time. But if you notice,
She also was covered a lot.
right. She was wearing big clothes. Like I watched the first episode because I was in the hospital with my mom and I wanted to put her onto the show because she has the Paramount app. I paid for it for her. And she's like, I never watched that show. So I was like, oh my God, you got to watch it. And then I noticed that she's in a mini skirt. She's in like a romper. Like she's in very like tight or revealing clothes in the beginning. And then as the show progresses, she starts wearing more and more clothing until like the season where she was pregnant, where she's just wearing like.
So she's behind the desk,
Exactly.
sitting at the table at all times.
Yeah, it's very clever filming, and I really appreciate all of it.
Yeah.
Well,
it beats some producers going, well, you can't be in the show anymore.
Right.
That's ridiculous. You can shoot around it.
Yeah. I love it. It's clever and it's smooth, and I like how they handle all of it.
Oh,
and I will say
absolutely.
that, this episode, as I was saying, speaking of her, she directed. This is her directorial debut.
She did a great job.
She did a great job.
She really did.
Yeah. So
idea for a show, Paramount, ghost that's pregnant.
Pregnant ghost. Oh,
have a ghost baby.
Oh man, that'd be creepy, little ghost baby.
Ooh, creepy baby ghost.
Yeah, just like Train Spotting. You ever see Train Spotting?
Yes.
Yeah, they're crawling on the wall. Like, no, that would be cool. I watch that. But back to this episode, we get the full deets from Carol as they sit watching everybody enjoy the sauce, and Carol's breaking it down. Listen, you don't want to mess with him. He's no joke. And I love Pete's line. Really? You could just bribe him with a lollipop and everything would work out. It's like, you're not getting that, Pete. You're bribing the guy in order to make it happen.
He's a grown adult.
Yeah.
He's not a 10-year-old. But it's his innocence. It's Pete's innocence that makes the character so endearing.
Yeah.
Like, you cannot not like Pete.
Right.
Pete is adorable.
Yeah.
Okay. His character doesn't see the bad in anyone.
No.
His wife was cheating on him when they were alive. He had him working at her family's travel agency, which was really a front for laundering money. They were literally doing it in the office behind him, and none of it was something he was aware of.
Right.
Like, the level of his ignorance is hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah, and
it actually is so funny.
And it's just one of the reasons why this show is so endearing and so beloved, because the cast, every one of them is amazing. I love Alberta. I love Thorfinn. Everybody, when they get their, like this season especially, they get their own particular episode. You're getting more and more into their backstory, and you just love them even more. Like, sometimes when they do backstories, it's like, boring on other shows, but the way they handle it here is so well.
And exactly. So, like, they really do it really well.
Yeah.
Um, like when they were talking about the episode with Thor and how he was left behind, they really did it well. They was not boring at all.
No. And having like Pete go on that trail and then getting the message out to Pete, it was perfect. um, Another thing that was perfect was when they actually got Flower out of Hetty's room and they realized what she was doing. They were like, "But why just for that?" And then they were like, "You know
Mhm.
what? I get it."
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love how they have Flower tell them the entire plan from A all
Yeah,
the way
like
to
she
Z. She figured out that she's smart. She figured out the whole thing. And then suddenly, oh, what was I saying?
Yeah, yeah.
And you're just like, oh, it was about Woodstock.
Yeah.
And she starts talking about Woodstock, and they're loving it. And
Yeah.
because they're thinking, oh, we got caught. We're in trouble now. But they really not in trouble because she won't
No.
remember any of it anyway, you
Exactly.
know? And I
Exactly.
love how her ghost is affected by all the drugs of the Woodstock and the
Yeah.
60s that she did.
Yeah. And I love her ghost powers. When you walk through her, you get high.
You get high. That's perfect for her.
Perfect. Perfect.
That is absolutely perfect.
So the rumor is, as we're in the thick of it, that we're gonna learn Hetty's ghost power.
Yeah, they haven't revealed hers,
No,
right?
no, she's the last one. Because Pete can
Mm.
travel, Thor can manipulate, Trevor can touch
Electricity.
stuff. Yeah, he can manipulate because he got struck by lightning. Um, Trevor can move stuff with his fingers.
Flower
Um,
gets you high.
right, Flower gets you
What
high.
about the other guy? I forget his name. The uh the soldier and the
Oh,
Native American.
Isaac Higginton.
Isaac.
If you walk through him, you get the
Oh, he
dysentery.
stinks.
Yeah,
You
you
get
stink. He
stink.
smells really bad though because he died of
Yeah.
dysentery. So that's his
Yes.
weird power, but that's his power. Sopsies can go in your dreams.
Yes, that's right. He takes over your dreams.
Yeah, so he can mess with you in your dreams. The only one we don't know, and we know the basement goats will give you cholera.
It could give you cholera for 24 hours.
Yeah.
Not something you want.
No,
For not any amount of time.
I was like, that's actually a supervillain power. Like
That
great.
is.
Yeah,
Keep it
it's
in the
like
basement. They're villains.
yeah, the basement ghosts are villains. They can
They're bad. Yes,
really mess up
absolutely.
everything. But I love Nancy down there. She's hilarious. And
She's excellent.
I was hoping we would get a little bit more of Nancy this season because that back and forth with Pete, like, get over it, Pete.
Yeah.
Just a basement ghost. Like, I thought she's just hilarious.
Oh, so absolutely.
More of her. And
I'm not sure that they intended for any of the basement ghosts to be so popular.
No.
But I think that she's so good at that part that that drew so much attention because I don't think the other basement ghosts are as interesting as she is.
No.
She brings it all together.
Yeah. But did you ever notice, because I watched the first episode again to show my mom, the basement ghost cast is completely changed except for one guy, the African-American guy.
And wait, but wasn't Nancy part of the original?
No, she wasn't there.
I gotta go back to watch that. I didn't notice that. How did they change the basement? Could change basement ghost.
Yeah, they changed the cast of the basement ghost. The guy originally, it was the guy from Twister, the friend with he kind of had like longer teeth. He's like he's like weird, but I think he was in People Under the Stairs. He has like this distinct but very strange look. Nice guy though. I used to follow him on social media. He's a really cool guy. But yeah, he was the main basement ghost. And then I guess he got another job because he was gone. And then Nancy became the main basement ghost. But yeah, if you go back and watch her trajectory,
she's not the main character of the basement ghost.
And they do a great job of planting things that come to fruition later on. So I don't know if it's long-term planning by the writers or not, but if it is, it's done well. Because there's stuff that
absolutely. And I love how they go back and they take some of the stuff and start incorporating it into the current writings. Because it really gives it sort of that continuity and go, oh yeah, I remember that episode.
Right. So good. So good.
Yes, absolutely.
So we're going to learn, according to one of our watchers, they dropped it in. We're going to get 22 episodes this season, which I'm super excited
I love it. I absolutely love it. And they've been renewed for season 5 and 6.
Yeah, and that's the other big news. They got 2 seasons, 5 and 6. So they're going 6 seasons.
Yep.
Thank goodness.
Have you seen the British version?
Absolutely.
They just ended it, and they ended it so well. I thought that their series finale was done so well. It was very different.
It was.
Very similar, but not. It was very different, and I like that about it, that it wasn't episode to episode matching.
Right.
You
There's no
know,
continuous story. It's like everything is different
no,
each day.
everything was
Yeah.
quite different. Yeah.
Yeah. But one of the things I noticed about the UK, it's a little bit darker. Like I know that British humor is heavier, but like
Hmm.
the whole scenario, this one, the Pete, Trevor and Pete were trying to boost up Trevor to use his power to knock stuff over to scare Jay and Sam,
Yes.
and it inadvertently causes Sam to get the ghost powers to see them. In the British one, the British dude's like, I'm gonna push this bitch right out and kill her.
Yeah,
You know
he
what I mean? It's like,
wanted to
oh
kill her.
God. So I don't know if you did this. Did you watch this version first and then find out about the British one and watch the British one?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
But I was only a few episodes in because I was like,
Oh.
that sounds. I've seen shows where they've had the British version, and I always go back because if you go back, you get more of a background to the show in general.
Mhm.
Because usually the British version comes out first, and
Right.
then the Americans redo it for our audience
Right.
here. But it gives you a different perspective, like shows like Being Human.
Mhm.
That was a British show, and it was completely different from its American counterpart.
Right.
But the idea was from
Was the
that
same.
show.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so when I saw this, I was like, let me check if there's another version of it. And there was, and I started to watch that first season simultaneously
Oh, okay. So
with
you did it
the
back to
yeah.
back.
Hmm.
One of the things that I noticed was they actually did justice to the Alberta character in this
Oh,
version
absolutely.
compared to her counterpart in the British version, because I felt like the British version was just silly and kind of like forgotten, you know.
She was sort of kind of an airhead in the British version,
Right.
and very typical, because I think because the Alberta version was also in the 20s
Yeah.
and 30s, and the other character was way before that.
Yeah.
There was a whole different level of knowledge and of understanding, and her role as a Black woman in that society was different, and she was appropriate for the time that she was coming from, but she wouldn't have that character wouldn't have fit in as well in the American version. I
Yeah.
think bringing Hetty to excuse me, Alberta to a part in the world where you've got her in the 20s and 30s, where she can be a singer, she can be
Hmm.
a performer. I think that made more sense to American audience. I think
Yeah.
because of our history and Black history for people during the times where the British version of Alberta would have been, it just
Hmm.
would not have played out very well.
No.
It would have not been accepted at all.
No. People probably would have been like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's like, didn't we have enough roles where that was the only thing we could do?
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
But the thing about Alberta's character, she's got like this sly badass to her. Like she's a singer, so she's got this presence and she's got this voice, and she's got this like je ne sais quoi about her that's just like she's got the riz, as my cousins would say. Oh, that one got riz, So
Yes. Agreed. She has riz for sure.
for sure. But she's also a badass because she's running around with bootleggers.
Yes,
And yeah,
she knows. Like she picked up on the whole mobs thing
right.
immediately. Like
Yeah.
she's like, "This don't sound right. This don't sound right." Like that's she can say in the background because she knew she was with bootleggers. She knew about smuggling things you're not supposed to have because it's not legal. Like she knew how they worked and how they operated, how they behaved. She took one look at them and she knew they were trouble.
Exactly.
She
And that's what
knew.
I loved about Alberta in this one. Like caught right on it. I like Thorfinn's little digs, like, oh, Thorfinn slept with Pete's wife too. Like he had those like it's like, damn, dude, like you can stop
Like,
talking about.
did you have to say that? That didn't
Yeah.
even fit in the conversation.
Right. Oh my god. It was
But I love Thor because he is so gullible but so tough at the same time.
right. Yeah.
They each have like this little thing about them that kind of makes them different than what you think.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
Trevor, he's a lot more kind than he likes to give out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I
he's a
think
sweet.
so.
He's a sweet
Hmm.
character. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the plotting and the scheming, it behooves the character because he's a stock market guy. So that's all what they did at that time.
Exactly.
And she's the wife of a robber baron, so that kind of like aligns. They have a lot
Yes.
more in common than you think. So
Yes, and when she finds out, when Hetty finds out her lineage, she just blows her
Oh
mind.
yeah. Well, I'm Irish. Oh, heaven forbid. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Oh, magnificent writing. Such great episodes. All right. Well, let's get into the wrap and talk about the rest
Yes.
of this. Well,
I
I
like the
think,
music.
yeah, a lot of fun. I think that in the wrap of this, I think the resolution of um getting, and now we find out why Pete's wife's there, because her being able to get the books, and like it had such a thing where if she didn't have died on the donut holes, and that was a joke from the first episode. Oh, my wife, I don't know what we argued about. I can't remember. And he goes, no, I remember. She ate the last of the donut holes. I'm like,
Yes,
oh
that was the
shit.
whole donut hole thing, which I like that they brought it back up and
Yeah.
incorporated in her death. Although I
Yeah.
have to say, not thrilled that they killed his wife in the same place he is, because now the
Yeah.
poor man got to deal with her.
The whole time.
Ooh.
Oh my God. Poor
Mm-mm.
Pete. But it worked out because of her being there, she knew where to go get the books, and she had her own stash in
Exactly.
case everything happened. And they were able to get rid of the mobster that was basically going to just end up slowly taking the place over, or getting all the money that they're making, because the business
Exactly.
was doing good. However,
Exactly.
I only saw this episode once, so I have to ask you: did they get to keep the recipe, or is it just like, I'm not going to use the recipe?
No, they don't get to use the
Uh,
recipe. They had taken it off, but what they wanted was to get rid of these guys because
yeah,
they were eating them out of house and home.
exactly.
And put it on the tab. I
Put it
like
on,
that
yeah, and it
painting.
started
Put it on
taking
the
stuff.
tab.
Yeah,
And it was like, what are you doing? That's not even normal. Like,
right. Yeah, total mobster stuff. Yeah,
yeah.
but yeah,
And yeah.
it was the perfect wrap up, and I love the fact that her guile and her wit, because she was the bookie, and keeping all of that records, was so smart. It's like, oh man, this woman, she's got a lot of depth to her, and I have a
Mhm.
feeling we may get backstories on her, Nancy, and maybe even some of the basement ghosts, to see what their life was like.
I think that would be great.
Yeah.
Like, I don't remember what's her ghost power.
She that's another one that we don't have yet. You don't
Yeah,
know
we
her.
need
She's a
hers,
new
and
ghost,
yeah, exactly. So
so she
she may
might
not
not
even
have.
know.
Yeah.
She may not know her ghost power yet, you
Right.
know? And also, are we going to see the teenage ghost that sleeps for a year?
And the
Like, are we
headless ghost.
seeing her? Yeah, the headless ghost.
The
What
headless
happens
ghost.
to him?
He's like popped up once, and then
I was enjoying the headless ghost every now and then.
yeah. Yeah, and it was funny because like
Yeah.
you bump into him, it's like, oh no, and he loses his head. It's like, hey, come over here. But yeah, for sure we got to get little Madonna upstairs to wake up, because it's been a year, so she needs to
It's been a year.
reemerge.
She needs to wake up. That's
Yeah,
right.
and do her whole spiel. But it's a matter of how they got to write it in. So it would be interesting. And they also still have, we don't know what happened with the axe murderer that was living outside, or the chainsaw slasher
Yes.
that killed her. So there's a lot. And I know the guy's beheaded, but I don't think we got really much of a backstory on him either.
We didn't really get a backstory, even how he was beheaded either.
Right. So I wonder if it
So
was the
we
same
need
chainsaw
that.
guy.
It could be. It makes sense.
Yeah.
It would make sense if they did that. But I have a feeling, because the way the writers have been keeping up, anything they bring up is going to reflect some episode of that character, past episodes. Like, they
Yeah.
really true like that canon kind of feeling to their writing. And I enjoy it very much because I feel like it closes out these episodes. Because we can sit here and speculate all we want about these characters,
Right.
but if they give you the information, I feel like, oh, okay, this is how they're writing it. This is
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. And it's one of
Yeah.
the highlights of the show. They know the beat, and they keep to the beat, and the pacing is matching that beat. So
Yes.
it's excellent. One of the other things that I loved the Christmas break episode was seeing Jay's parents, because
Yes.
Jay's dad was in the Matrix, and it was so
Yes.
dope to see him. I was like, oh, I was always wondering what happened to that guy.
I loved it.
Yeah, that was
I
so cool.
love how they made his parents and how they behaved, and how, Samantha was so nervous around them, around the mom. And all she wanted the mom was for her to be herself and relax.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I really thought when she got taken over by Nancy,
Which was awesome.
this was going to be a nightmare. Like these people are going to hate her even more,
Yeah.
But I love the fact that that actually was endearing to them. I was like, that's what we want. We want you to
Yeah. I just wanted you to
relax,
be chill. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like, you know.
Yeah.
But I find it interesting that they've dragged his sister
Hmm.
into the knowledge of the ghost.
And
Um,
she's a part of the cast more so now.
yes, I love her. I love
She's a
her
great actress
character.
too. Yeah, she's done a few things. So much. Her
Absolutely.
last name's Patel, actually.
Yes. And I like that Jace finally got to see the ghost.
Yeah.
Because, let's think about it. You're married. If your
Hmm.
wife gets into a coma for 3 days, God forbid,
Uh,
wakes up and tells you, hey, I'm seeing dead people. You're thinking, psychiatrist time.
yes,
That's what normal
exactly.
people would think. That's
Right.
normal, right? Time to take wifey to the doctor.
Hmm.
But he embraces her ghost stories and
Right.
the fact that his wife is talking into nothing because
Yeah.
he didn't see it. And
Right.
he takes her word for it and trusts in her. And it's like this deeply unbelievable level of trust.
Yeah.
Because I think that I would call 911 and go, you need to come and get this fool. He's seeing
Yeah.
a ghost. I
Exactly.
mean, that's normal, right?
Yeah.
But I love how he got this confirmation. Oh, there are actual ghosts.
Yeah.
Because you could dream about whatever you want. It doesn't mean because his dream could have been a manifestation of all the stories that Samantha has told him,
Right.
right? So of course he can kind of come up with an idea of what someone is going to look like and you dream about it, right? You manifest it. It's really seeing and being a ghost
That
that
makes it
really made it possible
right.
for him to go, oh yeah, she's not nuts. She actually
Yeah.
does see this.
Yeah.
I love
Which
that.
was
I
which is a
love
great
that
episode.
they made
And the
that. Yeah.
zombie Jay was pretty cool too.
Oh, he was adorable.
Uh, yeah. It's like I wonder what's gonna
I
happen when she's
absolutely love that.
yeah. So it's just great writing. I can't wait to see Eddie's power. I can't
I
wait to
can't.
see
So
yeah.
let's speculate. What do
Okay.
you think Hetty's power, knowing Hetty, knowing her behavior, knowing who she is, what power do you think she might have?
Hmm. Uh I think it's gonna be something to do with manipulation. Like that robber baron type of mentality of I'm gonna
Yes.
to control your
I think,
actions of your
yes,
life.
like an influence power.
Right.
Like if
Yeah.
she touches you, she could influence your way of thinking.
Right. Like like almost like a possession type of thing, but not really. Like she's like
Yes.
changes your altitude and your mindset to be like, I'm gonna manipulate you and have you do what I want because that's how it should be.
Yes.
I dictate the world and everyone should follow.
Yes. And I think Nancy's power is rage. Just hear me
Ooh,
out. I think
interesting.
if you touch her or go through her, your anger about whatever it is that you're angry about is going to come out and start manifesting.
Ooh.
She's an angry woman for sure.
Yeah,
She's
absolutely.
an absolutely angry woman. And I think that that will be an interesting power. Just like, think about it, each of their powers is a reflection of who they are. Like
Mhm.
Pete's power of traveling, well, he would do that with the children that he was, the scout leader of, and he wanted to do the camping with his family, and he was very
Yeah.
family oriented and doing family things, right?
Mhm.
Thor got struck by lightning, so he manipulates electricity.
Right.
You know, and I could see all the powers being part of who they are.
Yeah.
I think. So I'm thinking, Nancy, maybe some rage. You know,
Mm.
maybe rage, and the rage
Interesting.
lasts 24 hours like the cholera.
Oh man, what was that movie? 28 Days Later disease.
Yes.
You get the rage. Ah. Oh
Yes,
man.
28 days later. You can tell I watch a lot of zombie.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
um, but yeah, I think maybe rage for Nancy and manipulation of
For Hetty.
yeah, like I'm gonna influence you, sort of like an influence when
Yeah.
she wants you to go her way.
Right.
I think so, something to that effect. But whatever they come up, I'm sure it's gonna be
That's gonna be
fantastic.
great. Yeah. I'm thinking
Absolutely.
Pete's wife is probably gonna have something where like that she can, how she's like obsessed with getting it. I think it's going to be something sexual too, kind of like,
Really?
yeah,
When
like
you go
Hetty's
through
husband.
her, you get hypersexual?
Yeah,
Yes,
it's
that
like,
is also funny.
yeah, because Hetty's husband had that where they would make
Yes.
instant lust, but I think this would be different. Like they just want, particular whoever they're with, not just random,
Yes.
but like more of like a built up thing.
Yeah, like she'll go through Jay, or Jay will walk through her, and then all of a sudden he wants to get all wild with
Yeah, with Sam. Yeah,
Sam.
yeah.
Yeah,
I think it might be something like that. I can't wait to find out, and I think it's
that
gonna
would
be
be
good.
awesome.
What do
Yes.
you think at home? If you're watching, in the comments below, what do you think their power is going to be? We're going to
We
find
want to
out.
know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we want to know. We want to find out what's going to
Maybe we could
happen.
take a poll. Maybe you could put out a poll,
Yeah, there you go. I'll do
right?
that.
And see what powers Hetty and Nancy is going to have, and see what people think.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm definitely all for that.
Because I think this season we're going to find out about Hetty for sure, maybe Nancy, but we do have 2 more seasons after that that are locked and loaded that they could
Yeah, they can
explore.
explore. Yeah, it's
Hmm.
Carol, right? His wife?
Isn't it Nancy? No,
No,
Nancy's
Nancy's
the
the basement
basement girl.
ghost.
It's
Yeah,
Carol.
yeah, it's
It's
Carol. I think it's
Carol.
Carol.
Yes, you're
Yeah,
right. You're right.
I can real time look it up. That's how.
Yeah.
Welcome to the 20th century.
That's right. That's right. Everything is at your fingertips right
Hmm.
there. But yes, I think you're right. Her name is Carol. The basement ghost is Nancy. But we know that they can give cholera
Yeah,
to
Carol.
people, which
Yeah.
was horrendous that they did that to you.
Yo, I did not expect that. I was like, I wonder what it's gonna be. And then they said, oh, we give cholera. And he was like, what? Oh no. And then everybody in the chef's room got sick. I was like, oh. It was the lettuce. Okay. That's what we're telling people. It was the lettuce. It was the lettuce. All right. So look out for that poll. We're definitely gonna have that. Nita, thank you so much for joining me this week.
Oh, thank you for having me. It was so much fun.
Yeah, and our dive into shedding light on ghosts. We're gonna be back next week, and it looks like for the next 2 years talking about this show. So we're definitely, the door's open. You can always come back whenever you have time. We greatly appreciate it, and be sure to go and check out and follow the Sci-Fi Queens over on their channel. Again, the notes below will have the links to where to go. I'm Joe Dove. This is To Be Seen, and we'll catch you on the flip side.